Sierra Leone is last of 10, facing a lot of traffic to deal with onto the far turn. Boot to Cachet has made the top clear, leads at a length. Against the rail, Diddy a second by ahead. Caitlin, Her Greatness, the leader. Caitlin, Her Greatness leads at a length and a half as they go to the far turn, oversubscribed. His second a half length. She feels pretty, third to the inside, pounces a wide fourth to the turn. War Campaign draws within a half length of the lead. Now matching strides, Kings Barnes moves up behind him on the outside. Epic Ride swings wide, just a touch between horses. Doorknock has to shift lanes along with Sierra Leone. Boot to Cachet still has the lead. Didia, English Rose toward the inside. She Feels Pretty has the lead in the final furlong. Kings Barnes in front. Final furlong of the Ben Ally Stakes. Boot to Cachet, 25-1 upset under Frankie Dettori. Sierra Leone comes forward for the lead in deep stretch and wins the Toyota Bluegrass. She Feels Pretty, a dominating performance.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. Jeremy Plonk here from Keeneland.com and Horse Player Now. Getting set for day 10 of 15 at the Keeneland Spring Meet. We've got Thursday, April 17th on tap. Hope you enjoyed the opening day to week 3 of the spring meet here this afternoon. I'm sure Wesley Ward enjoyed the action today. 3 winners on the card. You know, when you look at the structure of a race card, sometimes you look at races and you say, okay, this kind of fits this particular situation. This card had a 2-year-old Baby Dash and 2 turf sprints on it today, and those are the 2 dominant areas for Wesley Ward. He took advantage and won all 3 of them. 3 wins today as well for Irad Ortiz. You can follow up with Irad today and see if his hot streak continues on Thursday, but as for Wesley Ward, he just has one in the entry box for Thursday. It's on the also eligible list, so we may not see him again until Friday, but a good day for Ward for sure. Top jockeys in here, Pratt and Saez also picked up a win, so the top of this leaderboard looks to continue to be strong. Irad making a run towards the top, though, with those 3 wins today. Brad Cox and Eddie Keneally also having great meets here during the spring meet. They each picked up another victory today, so they keep on keeping on as Wesley Moore tries to make his ascent towards the top to match up with Brad Cox. Pretty formful day, 8 races. 6 of the winners were 5-2 or less. None of the upsets were huge prices. So the track played pretty normal today. I picked up 3 wins and just barely a couple cents profit on the ROI for the day. So continue to be up for the first 9 days of the meet, but couldn't get my key plays home. And boy, what a tough loss in the 8th race, the turf sprint. We had Pratt on top, 18-1. We're 2 lengths up the 16th pole and get nailed. That's kind of a week maker right there, if not a meat maker, if we can get a horse like that home at that kind of price. But that was the situation today. You know, we hit 3 winners, but it seemed like we were on top turning for home or in the stretch in 6 or 7 races. And speed carries at Keeneland, but it didn't today in the particular spots where we needed it, but that's the way it goes. We'll try to do a little bit better coming up in this Thursday card and see how it all shakes out. But happy with the way things are going so far at the meet. We're going to have good weather for Thursday. 65 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Fast track firm turf course is the forecast for that. Keeneland Turf Pick 3 is races 5, 7, and 9 on this card. And we got 4 turf races overall coming up on Thursday. In addition to the Turf Pick 3, let's take a look at the snapshot of the card and see how things line up over a 9-race program for Thursday at Keeneland. We'll open things up with the early Pick 5 in the first. That means race number 5 is your swing race on this card. The 5th race will end the opening Pick 5 and start the late Pick 5. It's also part of the early Pick 4, so races 2 through 5. Race number 5, a key one in your handicapping. We've got a key play in there, so that's a good thing. Our key plays come up in races 2, 5, and 7. They're all grass races where we have key plays coming up on the card for this Thursday action. Pick 6 was hit today. I believe about 9,000 was the payoff. There were 4 or 5 horses in the last race that could have carried it. We hit the winner in the nightcap, 780 payoff, something like that. With Saez down on the rail, battling it out. And so the Pick 6 went down today. Again, about a $9,000 payoff. Also, the Super High 5 was hit today. So no carryover in race 4. No carryover in race number 9. We'll get handicapping on this card now and get right into it with a look at the first race picks here from the Handicapper Selectors box. You can check out the picks at Keeneland.com. Tom Leach had a nice day handicapping today. He usually has a good day, but Tom was good today. Got a couple nice prices in as well. Let's go to race number 1, where we go 1 1/8 in starter allowance company. We don't get many of these races, that's for sure. 1 1/8 on the dirt. We've had 20 starter allowance routes overall in the spring meets, but only 2 of them have been in 1 1/8. So we're extending these horses a little bit longer than what we're used to seeing here. I took number 7, National Eclipse, as the top choice in here. I think the horse can kind of sit second and try to stalk and pounce. A winner over the track here at Keeneland last year in October for the 30,000. That is the minimum level to be eligible for this race. So National Eclipse dropped 1 time to the $30,000 level, which got eligible for this race and won that. That's usually a good sign of a horse who, quote, fits the conditions. So National Eclipse going to be my top choice in the opener. Gorilla Trek, second pick in here for an Alexis Clare barn that you really have to respect. She's had 1 starter at the meet. It was a winner. Overall, Alexis Clare, the trainer here, 11 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. And, sometimes you listen and you learn something, because I remember during the broadcast when she was running her horse earlier in the meet that Gabby Gaudet had mentioned that Alexis Clare has had some success at Keeneland with limited number of starters. And I'll be honest, it's not a name that jumped off my radar in my stats searches. So I dug in, and it turns out, 11 starters, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. 5 for 11 in exacta, 6 for 11 in money, 3 winners for Alexis Clare. So you've got to respect the horses that she's bringing to Keeneland. Number 2, Gorilla Trek in race number 1 with Jose Ortiz riding could be a good fit there. So hats off to Gabby for pointing that out. And that's why we listen and we try to learn. I mean, as much work as we do on these cards, you can always pick up something from somebody else. And I think that's a good lesson there. So I took that from Gabby, tried to, verify the stat, and certainly was able to look that up through the various databases. BetMix is a database I use quite often. And of course, the free handicappers database at Keeneland.com will give you all the winners information dating all the way back to like 2008. So race number 1, I'm going to go with the 7 and 2 as the top plays in here, and I'll try to get by maybe with just those 2. The 3, first of his name, is kind of a horse who may be loose on the lead. I don't know if this horse can get 1 1/8. There've been a couple tries and did it at Ellis Park and backed up a little bit on the back end twice. So I'm not sure the 3 can get the distance even with the loose lead, but I think the 3 will be loose on the front end. Copper Missile, the 4, not one that I'm taking, but the other handicappers have an affinity for this one, coming off the synthetic at Turfway, off of some good efforts. Competitive group here in race number 1. I'm on the 7 at 2-1 in the morning line. I'm not wild about that kind of price, so let's see if we can't get a little bit more value. 7, 2, 3, and 4, all viable players here in race number 1. A competitive group, just to field the 7, but again, you've got 4 in here that you can consider in the early pick 5, which begins here in this race. But I'll take the 7 on top. National Eclipse fits the conditions perfectly. Let's go to race number 2 on the card, and I've got a key play in this race. So hopefully we can limit things down, like we're talking maybe using 4 of the 7 horses in the early pick 5, starting off in race number 1. But you notice I've got key plays in races 2 and 5. So we can narrow this a little bit in races 2 and 5. Then we can spread our wings a little bit in the opener. Race number 2 is 1 1/16 on the turf for maiden specials. These races have produced some decent prices in recent years. So don't be afraid of a horse at a price in race number 2. We had a nice winner at a price earlier this week. And the average winner in these races is about 6-1 in the maiden special turfs going long here. Favorites have only won 16 out of 75. So don't take a short price in here if you don't have to. The 1, Snippety Snip Snip, is going to be the horse. Snip Snippety Snip is going to be the horse I take in here at 10-1 in the morning line. Had a terrible post position last time out at Gulfstream. You want the Gulfstream preppers in these races. They've won 31 of the 75 races that we've talked about here in maiden special turf routes in the spring. So this is a big edge for horses coming from Gulfstream Park. Nobody else has come close to what we've seen with the 31 wins from Gulfstream. Fairgrounds way back with 11. So look for the horses from Gulfstream. Snip, Snippety Snip, going to be one for a hot Brennan Walsh barn. Gets Jose Ortiz that I'm going to take a shot with. And I'm on an island here, so it's a key play for me. I like the 1 in here. Should be a horse who fits pretty well. The 4, Double Jeopardy, also comes off the Gulfstream Park turf. But again, you're looking at a shorter price here at 5-2. If we're going to take the Gulfstream turfers, this one for Todd Pletcher, Pletcher. I'd rather have the price. Give me Jose at 10-1. Irad at 5-2 on the 4 double jeopardy. Brendan Walsh's barn is going super well. Todd Pletcher's not doing well at the spring meet right now, so I can't take the short price on double jeopardy. He's top choice in here for Tom and Scott. Respect the horse, but don't want the price. The 8 in here, rather distinct, the horse for Eddie Keneally by Justify. We've seen the Justifies run really well on the turf here over the years. A couple stakes races, stakes winners. Buku is one that comes to mind by Justify, a stakes winner on the local turf. Eddie Keneally had another winner today. He's had an excellent meet. I wouldn't be surprised if the 8's in this mix in here. I've got it 1, 4, 8, and 11. The other to consider in here, the 11 Sweet McKenzie, another Gulfstream type. For Jenna Antonucci, had a terrible post. Kind of similar, really. The 1 and the 11, both coming off bad posts at Gulfstream. I think the 11 got another bad draw, and the 1 gets a favorable draw here. And the way the Walsh barn is going right now, I give the edge to the 1 in here. So 1, 4, 8, and 11. I'm going to boldly say to single in here, snippity snip, because I don't want to take the short price on double jeopardy in here. If you had to add another, I would go with the 8, rather distinct, as a horse maybe from off the pace to watch in here. But I'm going to try to beat the 4 in this particular spot. Let's move our attention from race number 2, the early pick 4 kickoff, to race number 3. No wagers starting in this race, but again, it's going to be a key player in the early pick 5 and early pick 4 in both of those sequences. This is a dual condition claimer, so horses can get eligible in this race 2 different ways. The dual conditions are, if you're a 3-year-old, you can have any number of wins. If you're an older horse in here, it is for horses that have not won 3 races lifetime. So you're looking for, if you're a 3-year-old to run against the older horses here, you want to have more than 2 wins. You don't want to be in that non-winners of 3 category. But the 3-year-olds that are entered in here, number 4, a 2 for 15 runner, still eligible for non-3 against its own age bracket, and the 6 Midnight Blaze, 2 for 6 lifetime, still eligible for the non-3 against your own age bracket. Why run in these races against older horses when you're at the same condition as the older horse? The 1 Baytown Bougie is also in that same category. So you've got 3 3-year-olds in here, the 1, 4, and 6. They have no edge in here in terms of being ahead of the conditions. They're still non-winners of 3 lifetime. Lean to the older horses. That gives me number 7, Belle of the Bluegrass, as my top pick in here for Riley Mott. Let's see what the other handicappers have. I've got Belle of the Bluegrass. So does Tom and Gabby. Midnight Blaze, where's the wine? Others picked on top in this particular spot. As for Belle of the Bluegrass, this is a horse who's got a decent race over the track. Ran second to Kehoe Beach in a runaway win situation in the slop here back in April of last year. The only time over the track for this filly, but Riley Mott had this one in the winner's circle recently at Turfway Park, getting through the non-winners of 2 condition last time out. Look, when you're talking about these horses that are kind of lifetime condition, right? Non-winners of 3 lifetime is one horses end up staying in a long time before they finally get over the top. Belle of the Bluegrass is 6 for 11 in the exacta. That's not too shabby at all for a non-winners of 3 lifetime race. So I'll take Belle of the Bluegrass under Vince Chamano as the top choice in here, 9-2 in the morning line. The 5 Candy Cause, a nice price. Eddie Keneally. This is one who's kind of gotten into a groove. Now, did this horse just get good over the winter, or did the horse prefer the synthetic footing last 2 starts at Turfway Park? But back-to-back wins there. The horse did win a race in which he was DQ'd from purse money in July of last year. So probably a medication overage in there the way it looks. So Candy Cause is a horse who has won on dirt in the past, comes off of a couple wins on the synthetic at Turfway last time. Turns back from 2 turns, but the Keneally barn going really well right now. Luan Machado's been aboard for the last 2 wins and sticks aboard here. But I think the 7 is the right play in here. Belle of the Bluegrass. The 2, Where's the Wine, also one to consider for Wayne Catalano. Consistent sort, been right there in the try 4 of the last 5 starts. Comes off the turf, but on the main track, this horse won an off the turfer in December. Can win on the main, has one on the turf, has one on both surfaces. Kind of similar, probably form, at least speed figure wise, regardless of the surface. So number 2, Where's the Wine, would fit in here. Florent Giroux rides, maybe tries to get a little more speed out of him than what we've seen out of this horse, because there's not a ton of pace in this race. I mean, if you can kind of get up into the mix in this race, you might not come back. It's only a 7 furlong sprint, but there's not a lot of blazers in here, and the horses who have tended gone to the front are horses like Mila Jones and Prince Coloma, who have been routers trying to turn back to a sprint. Not a lot of sprint speed in here. If you can get out of the gate, if Where's the Wine can kind of get out and get into the race, can be effective in here. But again, I think the 7 Bell of the Bluegrass, a true sprinter, a 6 furlong, 6.5 furlong type, even 5/8 on the grass, taking on a lot of routers turning back. I think the 7 might just be better sprinting than these horses. Give me the 7 in here, Bell of the Bluegrass, in race number 3. We're hustling along tonight, already up to race number 4 on this 9-race card. It's going to kick off the pick 6. Again, no carryover in the pick 6 today. It was hit, I believe, a $9,000 return in the pick 6 today. So we'll see what we get on this Thursday card in terms of new money bet into the pool. $1 minimum pick 6 at Keeneland. Field of 12 in race number 4. Big field. This is one of these restricted maiden special weight races, rather new to Keeneland in the last year and a half, 2 years. The restricted maiden special weight races are for horses who sold at auction for a particular price threshold. So the idea of these races is to get horses that don't have to run against the big blue bloods, but have a chance to run protected in a maiden special weight race right out of the blocks. So if your horse sold for $65,000 or less at auction, or you were a homebred that never sold, you can run in this race and be eligible. If you sold for a higher level than that, higher than $65,000, then you have to run in the regular maiden special weight races, which you could be running against $1 million yearlings, $500,000 yearlings. So the idea is to give the small-time owners, breeders, and new buyers of these horses a chance to run against horses that are of supposed similar abilities, but some are better than others when they're bought for small prices. The most famous winner of one of these races at Keeneland for the restricted price, Torpedo Anna. She went on to be a horse of the year. So it could take anything in these kind of races. It could develop anything. So we'll see what happens here with these maidens in race number 4. These are 3-year-olds going 6 furlongs on the main track. Race number 4 here. Again, the pick 6 opener. I went with the 9 in here, Flick. Flick's only got one other mention amongst the handicappers in this particular spot, and Flick is 12-1 in the morning line for trainer Mike Tomlinson. The reason I like Flick is by Army Mule, and Army Mule, a sire that you just have to respect with anything this horse has on the main track here at Keeneland. Coming into the meet, 6 for 14 with the offspring of Army Mule over this racetrack, and that includes after the first week or two, or the first 8 days of the meet, that 6 for 14 number included Pinky Finger, who won here opening day in the 2-year-old Baby Dash for Wesley Ward. So the Army Mules love this racetrack. So I'm going to take a shot with number 9 Flick on a pedigree play. This horse was actually bet 7-1 in the Fairgrounds debut. For Mike Tomlinson barn, it's not flashy. So the fact that this horse was 7-1 in the debut, there's a little bit of thought that maybe they could run. Broke from the rail, didn't get away at all, never kind of got into the race at all after being rank on the inside. Treated like a first-time starter almost, and I'm going to give Flick a shot in here at 12-1 in the morning line, race number 4. As for the others in here, number 10 Backtrack is picked on top by 3 of the handicappers. The 12 Redacted also get the top play in here. Backtrack the 10 is a Joe Sharp trainee coming out of a Turfway debut. Adds blinkers for the first time, ran 3rd in the first career start in a fast time, 1:10-1. They were cooking there over the synthetic, and this horse had a little bit of trouble in that race as well. So the 10 Backtrack has to be respected with Jose Ortiz aboard, a son of Kozan. This is a colt getting blinkers on for the second career start. Also in this race, the 12 Redacted getting a couple top play and a couple second choices in here. As for Redacted, 4-1 in the morning line. This one goes off the turf back to the main track. It's run decently on both surfaces, but the 2 worst races of the career, really 3 worst races of the career, have come on fast dirt. So I'm not sure if Redacted's going to run as well as maybe the form suggests on the turf and on the sloppy main track. It's going to have to prove it to me that 12 Redacted on a fast dirt surface, because that's what we're supposed to get come Thursday's card. 9, 5, 10, 12, the way I've got them ranked in order. The 5 is a first-time starter, Araucano. This is a horse who cost $40,000 at sale, eligible to run here off the debut in this restricted race. Jose D'Angelo brings this one up from Palm Meadows in Florida. Gets Irad Ortiz to ride. D'Angelo's horses from Gulfstream have been ready to run. They've run well at the meet. So Araucano, the 5, has to be respected in here. I would use 9, 5, and 10 in the multi-race wagers in this particular spot, but I certainly want to get the 9 Flick in here at a price, again, 10-1 in the morning line. Or 12-1 in the morning line. Gambling intra race, this is a good spot for me for an exacta key box, 9 with the 5 and 10. So if the 9 runs first or second, the 5 or 10 or the other horse in the exacta, we'll be able to cash something nice. And if you're looking at tries, maybe something along the lines of 9-5-10 with 9-5-10 with a big spread in the third spot might be a good place to attack a trifecta with a field of 12 in here. And you've got a price or two to mix in there in race number 4. We'll go to the turf and start the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 in race number 5. Next up, it's a first level allowance in Turf Sprint Company. You're looking for Wesley Ward in these races, but Ward's probably not likely to get in. I believe he's in the also eligible list with a 30-1 named Johnny Come Lately. So Ward won both turf sprints today, a maiden race and an allowance. We love the 3, 4, 5 posts in these particular spots when they get a shot to shine. Today, I tossed the Ward horse in the one turf sprint today that won Bunchen. Because of the rail. The rail does not win often when we've got a full field of turf sprinters here at Keeneland. That's a difficult spot. So that was the reason I tossed the Ward in the one turf race. I used him in the other, but that ended up costing us the late pick 4, not using Bunchen from the rail. So we had everything kind of lined up for the late pick 4. If you got my Substack this morning, you saw that pick 4. In fact, this is a good time to remind you, if you want Substack email sent to you by me each and every racing morning for Keeneland, sign up today. It's free, jeremyplonk.substack.com. No charge for this. I send it each day of the Keeneland racing meet. You'll also get my handicapping information on the 3-year-old scene, my countdown to the crown columns, racing beyond the Keeneland meet from around the country. My free writings there on Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com. But in today's Substack, we talked about a pick 4 play late in the card. We missed the turf sprint. We tossed the reward horse because of being on the rail. Bunchen overcame the rail and won that. We had the other 3 legs, including the single, the 2-by. It's the race we're 4 deep. We don't have the rail horse. That's the way it goes. But a busted pick 4 ticket is the same whether it busts in the first leg or the last. So no harm, no foul. We went after it and came up a little bit short. But we'll try again here on this card. Race number 5, a key handicapping play, though, as we get back to talking about this turf sprint specifically, because race number 5 is going to be part of all of these key wagers on the program. Again, the first leg of the late pick 5, the end leg of the early pick 5, the end leg of the early pick 4. I think this is a race where a favorite becomes a key play in here. I don't think they're going to beat the well-drawn runner in here, number 4, Credit Worthy. And I love the fact as I look across the other handicappers, everybody's kind of got Credit Worthy in there, but not picked on top. I think this one's going to be a standout play. 5-2 in the morning line. It's Irad and Chad, so you know you're not going to get a big price on this particular horse. Nobody else going after him on top tells me you might get a fair price on this horse. Not going to be a big overlay, but fair odds to me, 2-1, 5-2. I would be more than happy in a big field of turf sprinters to just single in and lock down on this runner. Credit Worthy to me, I think the most solid play on the card. This horse is a Saratoga turf sprint winner in the second career start by Matoli. Coming off the layoff, I don't mind layoffs one bit at all when it comes to turf sprint races like this. The layoff horses have a lot of success in these. You get excellent connections, of course, and you get that great post position. Power post 3, 4, and 5. When we're talking about these turf sprint allowance races with full fields, post 3, 4, and 5, as I mentioned last night, they win over 50% of these turf sprint allowance races with full fields of 12. So again, 3, 4, 5 gives you 3/12 of the field. That's 1/4. They should win 25% on random chance. They win over 50%. It's advantageous to be in the 3, 4, 5 holes. So I'm going to focus on those particular runners. And when you get runners in those posts and you like them, it's like you're not just trying to force a round hole and a square peg together. If you get horses you actually like and reasons to jump on them, and they're in these power posts, I think it makes them all the more noteworthy. And so we're going to go with number 4, Credit Worthy, as our key play of the day in all the multi-race wagers. We're going to try to swing in and swing out of him. I'm using all 3 in the power posts in here. The 5-cent cash obviously makes a lot of sense. Coming off a win at Gulfstream, the Gulfstream turf sprinters have to be respected nationally. This is a really good turf sprint circuit at Gulfstream. They run a lot of them, and they're very competitive races. Cherie DeVoe has not had a good meet in terms of wins. She's had a lot of seconds and thirds. So send cash to me, maybe a better underneath horse than on top. Credit Worthy, certainly to be respected. The one Moon Sniper is an interesting one for me. This horse ran in the Indian Summer Stakes here turf sprinting last year. Only got like 4 lengths at a big price that day. Didn't run much in Fairgrounds in the return race, but 30-1 in the morning line with a good power post. And Darren Miller, the trainer. If you remember way back in the Polytrack days, if you're one of the longtime readers of our blogs and followers of Keeneland, There was a time when Darren Miller was as good a turf sprint trainer as anybody at Keeneland. He doesn't have the horses for Silverton Hill Farm like he used to have. Silverton Hills got this runner, Moon Sniper. He's a really good turf sprint trainer. This horse got beat 4 lengths in Stakes Company here in the Indian Summer last year. I kind of think Moon Sniper is an interesting long shot in here to use underneath. So in terms of a key play, where's my excitement lie in this race? I love Credit Worthy, right? We've got that one on top. We've got a 30-1 that we can use second and third in the tries. So you could be looking at 4 all 3, 4-3 all. And you also know that the 5 Send Cash is a horse who really fits nicely, drawn well. And Sheree, of those horses, they're not winning, but about 50% of them have run second or third. So you can almost count on the 3, 4, and 5 to be on the board somewhere. And I like that with a key play on top. So I'm really going to attack this race. The other horse I want to move into the mix would be the 8 Pivotal Moment. Christophe Clement trainee, won by 4 in a turf sprint down at Gulfstream. You don't daylight Gulfstream turf sprints like that easily. That 4-length margin's really exaggerated when you talk about a turf sprint. So Pivotal Moment came back running off the June layoff. If he repeats that effort, this son of Bolt Doro is going to be tough. Joel Rosario rides the 8 in here. You've got to respect that one. So 4 with the 5, 3, 8. I want to work those combinations as much as I can. Try supers in a big field in race number 5. Excited to get after this race, and I think we might get a fair price looking at the other handicappers across the way. Again, credit-worthy top choice in here. The 5 Send Cash, top pick for a lot of the other handicappers. That's the Cherie DeVoe runner. Again, respect for that one, but certainly the 4 the one I want to lean heaviest on. Let's go to race number 6 next up on the program, and the 6th race on the card starts the late pick 4. Part of the pick 5 and pick 6, of course, late in the day. Race number 6 is a race where I don't think we're going to get the price that the 6-1 morning line suggests, because we all kind of ended up on the same horse. Clico is the top choice in here for Scott, Tom, myself, and Gabby. And then Kim is going with the 5 in here, Bundle. So why did we all end up with the 2 Clico at Gulfstream Park last time out? This horse got away terribly, made a middle move into the race, and then stopped. Even money in the career debut, was supposed to be a runner for Brendan Walsh, and Brendan Walsh doesn't get bet first time out and doesn't really score big first time out. So this horse is absolutely well meant. Since that race, since overcoming the bad start and rallying up mid-race, has come back, fired a bullet workout here on April 8th to ready. Second start connections here, 21% wins for Walsh with a positive ROI second start. We're not getting 6-1 with Irada Ortiz aboard. We're all looking at the same thing here. And I think we're on the right horse, but we're not going to get 6-1. We'll see what kind of price we do get. Number 4, She Won't Budge, is going to get bet. Brad Cox trains. This is another Army Mule. We talked about those stats with Army Mule. Now what? 6 for 14 over the track here at Keeneland so far with his offspring. She Won't Budge is going to run a good race here at 7/8 of a mile. Second career start. Lot to respect there. 9-5 in the morning line. I like the 2. I like the 4. But if the prices kind of start to come together, then maybe you're overemphasizing the 2 and maybe not giving the 4 enough credit in here. So, like, all things equal, if the 2 and the 4 are the same price in this race, they probably have about the same chance in my mind as far as what fair odds would be. So watch the tote board here in race number 6. Could be big in terms of which one of those horses you think value might be. She Won't Budge might be an overlay for Brad Cox in this particular spot. The 2 Clico may be an underlay with Irad riding for Brendan Walsh. And so you got 2 barns that are going really well. You got Pratt and you've got Ortiz, 2 of the top 3 jockeys at the meet. So look, there's a lot to like about the 2 and the 4. This does feel like a race where you probably want to be too deep in your wagers. I don't think we've got to go farther than that. Maybe the 3 Mazayat, one to consider in here as well. A debut second place finish at Gulfstream, going the 7/8 of a mile, but they came home slow there. 13-4 the last 1/8 of a mile. Not a very good finish. I think that debut closed to finish second by Mayazat, the 7 or the 3 horse in here. I think that may have been kind of aided by a slow come home time. I don't think that horse is as good as maybe the running line looks. So 4 and 2, the 2 horses you definitely got to use in here. I like the 2. I think we'll get a better price than the 4, but maybe not, looking at how everybody's thinking the same thing. But again, multi-race wagers, this is actually a recommended 2 deep shot in here for me. Let's move now to the 7th race on this 9-race card. This is the second leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Race number 9 will be my third and final key play on the card. This is a 2 other than, which means a second level. Horses cannot have won more than 2 allowance races. They go into this spot here looking for a mile and a half journey and see who can get the mile and a half. That's the real question here in race number 7. I'm taking a horse who I thought was brilliant. I don't know about the mile and a half, but I think that Quattro Cento, the 9, was exceptional in the win last time out at Tampa Bay Downs. Second start off the layoff for this Fausto Gutierrez trainee, and Fausto's had some good horses over the years, so he can have a good one in his barn. This horse laid off August to March 28th, came back at Tampa Bay Downs, and look at the internal splits in that race. This horse drew off and won by 4 1/4 late at a mile and a 16th, but, when you take a look at the splits, Quattro Centro was 3 lengths off of a half and 46 3, 6 furlongs and 110 4. Those were excellent splits, and then still finished up super strong. I think this horse might be aching for more. By Warfront, I don't know about the mile and a half, but this horse was so super strong at a mile and a 16th. And Frankie Dettori tends to ride this grass course pretty aggressively at Keeneland. This might be a horse who's like a good mile and a 16th horse who's really sharp and on his game right now. And he's going against mile and a half types and horses that might be in this race because they're plotters. You could get a brilliant horse against some plotters, and this could get ugly on the turn. I think Quattro Centro might be a horse who can just bolt clear on the turn. Maybe he's got to hold on for everything he's got in every last gasp. But Quattro Centro in here, I think coming out of that last race is really good. If you want to scoff at the Tampa form, this horse ran at Gulfstream Park last year on the grass. It was during the summer, so he hasn't been tested against the highest quality of horses. But again, I love that last race from what I see from Quattro Centro. The 9 horse 6-1 in here, my third key play on the card in race number 7. And when you're looking at a Keeneland Turf pick 3 in here, and you can lock down on a horse that you love at 6-1. It's a good day maybe to be playing that Keeneland Turf pick 3. As for the other handicappers in race number 7, they're spread in this race. The 2 Mata Weeds got a couple top choices, the 7 Legree and the 3 Tucson. So 2, 3, 7 all have top choices in here. The 9 not tabbed by anyone. We're on the island and we're only 6-1 in the morning line. That tells me we're going to get every bit of that price. But again, I think that was a brilliant race last time out. Hopefully we can get the 9 home. My other choices underneath the 9 include the 6 Verbal, 15-1 in the morning line. This one bred to run all day by Flincher, has a 3rd place finish in a similar race here last April. Brendan Walsh's barn is going really well right now. Ben Curtis is riding well. You get a decent value play when playing Ben Curtis, a good jockey who doesn't carry money with them when it comes to the betting public. The 3 Tucson to be respected. It's a $1.3 million Pletcher who's coming off back-to-back wins on the synthetic. When do you run a $1.3 million horse twice on the synthetic down at Gulfstream? We'll find out those races. One of them was washed off the turf. The other one was scheduled for the synthetic last time out in the Lowndes Company. Going to be a class and distance test for number 3 Tucson in this particular spot. I don't know how far that one wants to go. Got, a bit easier. I think, the tempos were decent in those races. We'll see, though. He's got the Cozine on the dam side of the pedigree, more of a miler type, perhaps, but we'll see if Tucson can get that far. I've got it 9, 6, and 3. Love the 9 in here. Quattro Centro. I think we're going to know on the far turn whether or not we got something to root for. If this horse doesn't kind of like show that internal fractions and ability, then I think if they're just plodding along, then probably some of the more seasoned mile and a half horses will get to them. So I'll take 9, 6, 3 in here in race number 7. To the 8th race we go, and the 8th race is the allowance feature in here. This is a 6 furlong sprint entry level. We've got some horses bred to like it at Keeneland. We talked about the Army Mules already. The Army Mules with those great stats, 6 out of 14. You got a Tappert in here, Cavatelli. Tappert's horses have been absolutely exceptional in limited number of starters on the main at Keeneland. And the 1 Mile of Roses by Vekoma. If you talk about like 3 sires that don't have a lot of numbers, but have a lot of big-time success with few horses, it's Vekoma, it's Army Mule, it's Tappert. They're all involved in this race. The 1, the 4, and the 5, all bred to be exceptional over this racetrack. There's only one start between the 3 of them. Wisconsin Gal did run here at Keeneland and Maiden Company last year and didn't run that great. So if you want to play the handicapping angle with the pedigree, maybe you pull a little bit back from the 4, saying, look, you've already run over the track and that proof is in the pudding. But Wisconsin Gal's been running in all stakes races at Oaklawn and last year in Kentucky, 6 straight races in Stakes Company, making a class drop to a non-winners of 2. So you can certainly see the 4 being involved in the mix here. I've got it 5, 1, 3, and 4. We're going to use all 3 of those horses that have those hot pedigrees here at Keeneland. Also going to mix in the the 3-horse Empirical Mischief. Empirical Mischief was here at Keeneland in the fall, made the lead against Eclatant. That was a really good maiden or a really good 2-year-old allowance race last year for the fillies. Gets Lasix for the first time. John Innes, good trainer. Adam Biscuitza rides, working over at the Thoroughbred Center across town here in Lexington. Empirical Mischief, one I think you want to include in this mix. But I've got the 5 Cavatelli on top at 6-1 in the morning line. Scott's also gone that direction. Cavatelli also top 3 pick for Kim and for Tom. 5, 1, and 3. I think you want to use all of these horses that could get into the mix for sure. Number 1, Milo Rose, a debut winner by Vekoma for Steve Asmussen, won at first asking at Turfway. Not a particularly fast time, but the track was slow that night. So Milo Rose, one to certainly consider in here. Hopefully gets away from the gate good again, and then a little bit better after the initial strides. Was on the outside of the gate last time when rallying to win. But why I like Cavatelli in here, the 5, this is a horse by Tappert. Again, you love the potential pedigree play here. This horse gets Lasix for the first time. Eric Foster hits 29% first Lasix, and he does well with horses off long layoffs. They go get Joel Rosario here, which I think is a good get for this barn. Hasn't had Joel Rosario. To get an A-list rider like that for Eric Foster, I think is a big deal. So give me the 5, 1, 3, and 4. You want to spread a little bit here, I think, when you're looking at the multi-race wagers. If we single the 9 Quattro Central in race number 7, I think we can single Credit Worthy in race number 5. So when you're looking at a late pick 5, I've got singles in the 5th and the 7th. We can spread a little bit here in race number 8 and take a few of them. But a lot of good pedigree plays in here. This is a good one to watch the tote board in race number 8 because, again, I don't see a big separation with a lot of those contenders. They're all potential pedigree freaks maybe on this racetrack. Take the one at the better price. Watch the win pool. Try to bet as close to post time as you can to get a best assessment of the odds. With the way the late odds drops are now, it's a reality. It's part of horse racing with the computer-aided wagering outfits around the world that are playing into the pools. Look at the potential payoffs in the pick 3s and the daily doubles that end in a particular race to try to get yourself a sense of where favoritism will lie and where maybe an overlay will be. Try to find the horse that you think will be the best price at post time amongst that group in race number 8. And one of the ways to find that out, again, is look at the will pays that end in that race, the daily double payoffs, the lowest horse in the daily double, the second lowest horse in the daily double, third horse in the daily double. Most of the time will end up 1, 2, 3. Like they stack up the same way in the win pool wagering. So that'll give you a little sense of where you think the horses might lie in terms of favoritism. Let's go to the 9th and final race on this Thursday card as we wrap things up. No carryover in the Toyota Super High 5. We start fresh with bad. My own 16th maiden special turf race. We talked about this earlier in the card in race number 2. This is what we call a split division. There were so many horses that were entered for race number 2 on the card that they just went ahead and made a second race out of it. We've got a full field of 12 with an also eligible in race number 9. So a lot of the same talking points that we had in race number 2, where these races have been good value bets. Favorites haven't done very well in these races, particularly. If you want to shop around in here, maybe you can find something in the Super High 5 race. We wrap things up here in the 9th. My top choice in here is going to be 9, Love You Anyway. This is the horse, Rusty Arnold. I see the George in the program, and I just read. It's Rusty Arnold, of course, George R. Arnold. Rusty Arnold trains this one. Coming out of the Florida Oaks, the Gulfstream horses have dominated these maiden special turfers, as we talked about when we were talking about the second race. 75 of them, 31 winners from Gulfstream Fairgrounds, as 11 is next best. Now, Love You Anyway comes out of a race at Tampa, but this horse was in the maiden special program at Gulfstream, ran a really good second in there, then went into a stakes race right out of that maiden race, now comes back to the maiden ranks. I think the 9, Love You Anyway, makes a lot of sense in here. The 10, Oak Alley's another one from Gulfstream you want to keep an eye on. Brendan Walsh trains this one. This one is coming out of the same race as a horse who's running earlier on the card. I believe Double Jeopardy is the one running earlier. He was the runner-up in that March 9th race behind Bunratty Manor. If Double Jeopardy runs well in race number 2 on the card, that's my second choice there. Yeah, Double Jeopardy's the 4 horse in race number 2. If Double Jeopardy runs well, that's really going to kind of enhance the chances, I think, of number 10, Oak Alley. That'll tell you that that was a really good race that the 10 came out of. The 10 had a terrible post position that day. Gets a much better draw. No, not a much better draw. Another wide draw in this particular spot. That's what kept me from making the 10 potentially a top choice in here and a good value play. But that might scare a lot of bettors away. And the post might help make the price, as my harness friend Al Samaglia likes to say when talking about the Trotters and the Pacers. The post makes the price. Nobody wants to bet the 10, perhaps, with the wide draw, but might be an overlay because of that. I think the 10's got a reasonable shot in here. Number 4, Portfolio Duration, the 9-5 morning line favorite. Second place finish for Chad Brown in the career debut, but was beaten favorite at Tampa Bay Downs. Why can't you get this horse beat again at a short price? Again, these favorites win 12 out of 75 in maiden special weight turf routes here in the spring meet. So why not take a shot against the 4, Portfolio Duration? I also thought the 7 and the 12 were horses in here that you might want to give some consideration to. So while we have ourselves a couple singles in the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 with race 5, Credit Worthy, the 4 horse is going to be singled for me. I'm also going to single boldly Quattro Centro in race number 7. That gives me a chance to use several shots here in race number 9, whether it's the Keeneland Turf Pick 3, the late pick 4, the late pick 5. If you're playing a pick 6, I think this is a good race to spread, and history also says it's a good race to spread, right? Favorites get beat in this race, in these races. The average winner of these races is a good price, or somewhere around the 6-1 range for an average price. So this is a chance to maybe go get yourself a little bit of a price. We saw an 18-1 winner in a similar race, Double Velocity, earlier in the meet. So it's happened already this meet. It's happened over time. We might get ourselves a nice price in race number 9. So shop around. And if you're, the kind of person that likes to advocate for getting to the final leg of a wager and spreading, that's not necessarily my strategy. It's not about just getting to the last leg. It's having an opinion and formulating your ticket around the opinion. But if you are one of those people that just wants to kind of get alive to the last leg, it'd be good to be spread mighty wide in that particular finale, because I think there are different options and the kind of race that can produce a different kind of winner. So that's the way we'll wrap things up in race number 9. Okay, folks, good luck to you on the Thursday card. I'll be back tomorrow morning to update you after scratches and changes. 2 ways you'll get an update. We'll be on X at Horseplayer Now and at Keeneland Racing around 12 o'clock, 12:15, about an hour before post time after the Today at Keeneland program finishes up. That gets underway at 11:30. So I'll give you my final update, some daily double plays to look at tomorrow morning on social media. And also, again, be sure to get the Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com, where tomorrow morning's email will go out after scratches and changes. So you'll probably get that around the 11 o'clock hour with my updated final picks for the Thursday card, day number 10. Have a great night, everybody. We'll be with you tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, when we preview the Friday card. The Friday card features the Double Dog Dare Stakes, and it is a good group of fillies and mares. Have a great night, everybody.